Let's watch some Fox News, which is my favorite comedy show. And let's see what Kevin, I Need Another Job McCarthy's talking about today.
Joining us now is Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House. Mr. Speaker, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Do you think she's going to deliver any honest policy positions before the election? How do you get out your decoder ring and say who is the real Kamala Harris, whether it's in an interview or in a debate or anywhere in between?
Well, she has a long record of being elected, so why don't we look at what she voted for? She was the tie-breaking vote in the Senate more than 30 times, the most of anyone. And in those tie-breaking, it determines whether a bill becomes a law or not.
That's really interesting, Kevin. I thought that was actually the job of the vice president. If there was only a place that we could look up that information. I know, let's check the internet.
And she was taken to the most extreme levels. Remember, when she was in the Senate, she got elected from California, but elected from San Francisco, not from Bakersfield like I was. And
What? What does it matter whether it was votes from San Francisco or Bakersfield? You do know that's inside the state of California, right, Kev? Or maybe we need to get you a geography course to take online.
And also, she was rated as the most liberal member. So if you look at Bernie Sanders, who doesn't even belong to the Democratic Party, he's honest and belongs to the Socialist Party, she's further than he is.
Kev, come on, bro. You know that she is nowhere near as far left as Bernie is. And keep in mind, he's had the same position for years to stop corporate America from killing the American dream, as well as also making sure the rich pay their fair share, something that all of you politicians seem to forget. He seems to be the only one out there pretty much touting that on a daily basis. You need to get your facts straight, bro.
And these are not modifying positions. This is a complete flip. And it's not her saying it. It's the politics of her political staff saying it. She's not even coming out and saying, I changed my position. She's just doing whatever it takes. Instead of a Kamala, it's Camellia.
It's true.
Sure, you can agree with them, Captain America Pocket Square.
What kind of approach do you think she'll take? If you had to speculate, she's going to be forced at least twice. Who knows if she does another interview? But what approach would she take? Hey, I've just had an earnest thought on this, or I was misunderstood, or that's just not true. If her political skills she doesn't have very sure footing on that, how do you get to the bottom of what she? I know you said her policies, but in the moment, how does she answer that? How does she attempt to?
I think she tries to laugh it off like she did with the border. When even Lester Holt said, you haven't been to the border, she laughed and said, but I haven't been to Europe either. It was her job to go to the border.
Sure, I can agree that she really flubbed that question with Lester Holt. But at the same time, she did say something about she's in Guatemala and that we should start looking at the reason everybody is coming up north. I noticed that nobody seems to be talking about that at the moment.
And she would avoid it. She's going to avoid every chance she can. Her history of campaigns is she starts strong and then she collapses. This is a short campaign. Yeah. Let's be honest. If she had to run to win the nomination, she never would have won the nomination. So she's trying to 100%. Avoid any press, try to just stay there, and try to take any position they think popular. You just had a very good point about EV. There is a new survey out of just those who own EVs. Half of them want to go back and buy a gas-powered car.
Sure, a lot of those people want to actually return those vehicles because they can't find a place to plug them in. You would think somebody would have thought about putting in infrastructure before they started selling a crap ton of electric vehicles. Isn't that something the government should be helping people out with? I would suppose if you want to replace out the system that's the juggernaut in the industry like petroleum-based vehicles with something that's more of a clean energy type of option, you really need to make sure that infrastructure is in place. And if people are making electric cars, they should have some skin in the game to help make that happen as well, not just the government.
In 2019, she voted for a mandate that she talks about in 2045. So she's directly lying to the American voter. Everybody should get flip-flop shoes from her because whatever position she had and voted on and ran for and got elected by is switching between now and the next 70 days.
You are absolutely right, Kevin. She's probably lying a little bit. But you know what? I figured out from my time of watching politics, it is the absolute #1 mandate of all politicians to lie directly to the faces of the American people, to be beholden to corporate donors, as well as also just making sure you're not doing the best for the American people. So it's all in the proof of the pudding whenever it comes down to what bills and laws have you actually gotten enacted that benefit the American people. So I got to ask about your record, Kev. I noticed that you didn't pass very much while you were Speaker of the House. Looks like you weren't doing your job at all.
You know, dust off the old 2004 John Kerry flip-flops.
I'm pretty sure you got a giant pile of flip-flops in your closet too, Kev.
Because that feels like where we're going. I mean, it's all about the people. The people see what's happened to the automobile industry and jobs that tried to comply with this EV mandate. It's collapsed, and their jobs along with it.
That's an interesting observation, Captain Pocket Square. But here's another interesting observation. According to Sean Fain, the president of the UAW, Donald Trump did nothing to help out the union workers when they were closing plants. So how do you feel about that when we're talking about the auto industry?
J.D. Vance, I listened to him today. He was in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I think he's really hit his stride on calling out the implications of radical policies. Here he is today. Watch.
We have to remind people of the real record. Kamala Harris wants to defund the police.
What the is this? Now that's just freaking stupid. Nobody wants to defund the police that's a politician out there because they know that's a death sentence on a political scale. They're not going to get reelected. They're like, we're going to get rid of all the cops.
Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking.
Well, JD, I'm not so sure that I'd be into the whole fracking thing anyways, considering that it possibly leads to water contamination, air pollution, earthquakes, methane emissions, waste disposal problems, as well as also water scarcity because fracking uses a lot of water, health risks, and infrastructure degradation. But on top of that, a lot of this happens around all the poor people in America, because they sure as heck ain't drilling in the back of Mar-a-Lago, I'm sure. There's also another great article that talks about fracking by the Yale Climate Connections. You remember Yale, right, JD? Isn't that the school you went to that you got your really cool law degree from? Well, anyways, they lay out some great topics when it comes to the cons of fracking. So I will leave a link to the article below and make sure to check it out. It's a good read.
Kamala Harris wants to further entrench the EV mandate that sends your tax dollars to China. I have a suggestion, Kamala Harris. If you would like to enact the policies of Donald Trump, you could do it right now because you are the vice president.
Check this out, childless cat lady guy. The vice president does not create policy. The vice president might gather information, might visit countries, might gather up all that information and bring it back to the president, who is the one who can enact policies. And on top of that, I have never seen an actual vice president sign a bill that has been approved by Congress into law. So if that's happening somewhere, please somebody guide me to that.
He went on to go on both sides. Here's where she was on both sides of every issue. Are Trump and Vance doing what they need to be doing to expose her for who she is? You know the press is complicit and they're not going to amplify it, but are they doing what they should be doing at this point?
I think so. I think JD is really hitting his stride. Every single day he's making the point. The other thing you would say in here that JD was talking about there, the positions that she has voted on every single time, it'd be like, look, I was a small business owner and I hired somebody and they worked for me for 3.5 years, but they never did the job right. And they come to me and they want a promotion. And they say they promise if I give them this promotion with more money and more power, they'll really do this job this time.
That's interesting, Kev. I also find it interesting that it took you 14 votes to actually get the speaker's position and took you less than a year to lose your promotion for not doing your job, I guess, or at least your party thought you weren't. So that's kind of funny that you bring that up.
That's exactly what. But the Democrats are now trying to make Donald Trump the incumbent. They want to be, Donald Trump is for all these bad places. Because the polling today, the right direction, wrong direction, the country doesn't like where they're going. They don't like it when they go to the grocery store. They don't like it when they have to fill up their tank of gas. They remember what it used to be. And I was telling you, I was just talking to President Trump the other night. I think he has really hit his stride.
When Kevin said he talked to Donald Trump, it really meant he had a good bootlicking session trying to make sure he's in a running for some kind of cabinet position if Trump actually wins.
And I watched that rally that he had when RFK came on the stage and that crowd cheering. I've watched then what it is just do a day or two later. You watch So Presidential going out and laying the wreath, honoring those 13 Gold Star families. Where was Kamala Harris, the VP?
Yes.
Nowhere to be found. He didn't say a word, but what he did, he showed what the real heart of America was thinking about those families and those lost loved ones. Didn't have to be.
I'm pretty sure, Kev, that it wasn't Donald Trump's idea to go to the Arlington Cemetery and take photographs in front of soldiers' gravestones while they do the thumbs up. Pretty sure that was one of his campaign manager's ideas, because I don't think Donald Trump gives a crap about our soldiers.
And who was the last person in the room and proud of that decision? Kamala Harris. How is she going to flip on that?
No doubt, powerful imagery. The honeymoon is over, and some key moments ahead of us with this, well, I guess you call it an interview, and then the debate. By the way, we're going to have RFK's former running mate on the program in a moment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Appreciate it.
Hey, look, it's JFK Jr. Trump has to know about the whole brain worm, dead dog, dead bear, dead whale fetish thing that he has going on, right? Then again, it's Trump. He doesn't care. He's the king of weird anyways. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.